I got called a mama's boy at my fiancé's parents' anniversary dinner, so I canceled the wedding. So I'm Nate, 31, back-end engineer at a SaaS company in Austin making about $120K. My dad died of cancer when I was 17, so it was just me and my mom through my last year of high school and college. I worked 2 jobs while getting my CS degree. Mom worked night shifts at the hospital, and we made it work. Now she's 62, retired, living about 30 or 40 minutes away in the suburbs. I visit every Sunday, help with stuff around the house, have dinner, sometimes drive her to doctor's appointments or the grocery store. It's just what you do, you know. I've been with Olivia, 29, for almost 3 years. She's a part-time Pilates instructor and does wellness content on Instagram. Very soft girl aesthetic, crystals, manifestation, all that. Her income's maybe 20K to 30K a year, so I cover most of our expenses. We live in my townhouse that I'm paying off. I never minded because I thought we were building something together. But lately, she's been making these comments. Half joking, half serious stuff like, "You need to detach your energy from your mom if you want to get married," or "I'm not marrying 2 people, just you." I thought it was just her being insecure or maybe trying to be funny. I didn't realize it was an actual plan. So 2 Saturdays ago, her parents threw their 30th anniversary party at this Italian restaurant. Nice place, maybe 20 or 25 people, family, close friends, the whole deal. Her cousin Evan was there, typical sales bro, flexing about his new Tesla and some huge commission he just closed. Everyone's having a good time, drinking wine, celebrating. At some point, Olivia's mom asked us about our timeline for buying a house together. Before I could even answer, Olivia cut in with this laugh that made my stomach drop. "What house? Nate has to ask mommy for permission first. He's still her little boy." The table went quiet for a second, but she kept going. "Every single Sunday he runs home to her. Can't make a decision without calling her first. I told him after we get married we're going to have to wean him off." Her cousin's girlfriend actually laughed. Her aunt chimed in, "Good luck, honey. Mama's boys are hard to fix." And then Olivia, my fiancée, the woman I was planning to marry in 4 months, said with this smug smile, "It's fine. Once my name's on his bank accounts, things will change. Mommy will get downgraded to holiday visits only." I want you to understand something. I wasn't angry in that moment. I was just done, crystal clear. I put my fork down, looked at her parents and said, "You're absolutely right about one thing, little boys shouldn't get married." Then I stood up, thanked Ron and Trisha for dinner and for 30 wonderful years together, and walked out. I could hear Olivia calling after me, half drunk and confused because she genuinely didn't think I'd leave. But I got in my car and drove straight to my mom's house. Mom was surprised to see me on a Saturday night. I told her everything. And you know what she said? "Honey, you loving me doesn't make you less of a man, but her needing to push me out to feel secure, that's the problem, not you." That's when I knew I wasn't overreacting. I don't really know what I'm asking you guys here. I guess I just need to let this all out somewhere. Update 1. Okay, so the last few days have been intense. Monday morning, I took a work from home day. Olivia teaches morning Pilates classes, so I knew she'd be gone from 7 a.m. to noon. I went back to our apartment and packed up all her stuff. I didn't touch her things roughly or throw anything away. Just packed everything methodically into boxes, her clothes, her crystals, her ring lights, all that Instagram equipment she needed for her business. Stacked it all neatly in the living room. I left her boxes with a note on top. "You have until Friday to get your things and turn in your key. I'm staying with my mom this week, but after Friday the locks get changed. Consider the engagement canceled." Then I drove to my mom's. We spent Monday afternoon clearing out her basement, which had become a storage dump over the years. I'm talking Christmas decorations from 1995, my old college textbooks, boxes of my dad's stuff we couldn't bear to sort through. We finally did it together. Tuesday, I started the transformation. Bought paint, set up a temporary workstation, ordered a mini fridge and a hot plate. I'm turning that basement into a legit studio space, not because I'm moving back home permanently, but because I need time to reset and figure out my next move. Plus, it's nice being around my mom right now. Wednesday is when Olivia's call started. At first it was, "Baby, I was just joking, you know how I get after wine." Then, "What the hell, Nate? You just left. We need to talk about this like adults." By Thursday, "You abandoned me. I can't afford to move out. You're financially trapping me." That last one made me laugh. Financial trapping. I paid 90% of our bills. I covered her car insurance last year when she forgot to pay it. I funded her business expenses for her Instagram. Her mom called me Thursday night. I actually answered because Trisha's usually reasonable. She tried the whole "you're both under stress, wedding planning is hard, Olivia didn't mean it that way" speech. I stopped her and said, "Trisha, your daughter told a table full of people that once she controls my money, my mother gets demoted to holidays only. That wasn't a joke. That was a plan she said out loud because she thought I'd just accept it." Silence. Then, "Well, every couple has to set boundaries within laws." Boundaries aren't eliminating someone from your life. Boundaries are healthy limits. What Olivia described was isolation. More silence. Then she tried. "She's embarrassed. The whole family knows now. Can you at least talk to her?" "No, I'm done." And I hung up. Friday, I started the vendor calls. Wedding was supposed to be in 4 months, early October, outdoor venue, the whole Pinterest perfect thing Olivia had planned. I was the primary payer on almost everything. Venue, got back $2,800 of my $3,500 deposit. They keep $700 as a cancellation fee, but that's fine. Photographer, full refund since we were outside the 90-day window, $1,200 back. Florist, 50% back, lost $600, recovered $600. DJ, total loss of $500, but whatever. Caterer, this one was interesting. $4,000 deposit, non-refundable, but they let me transfer it to a different event within the year. So guess what I did? I booked my mom's 65th birthday party for December, invited her old nursing friends, some of our relatives, family friends who have been there since my dad died. Turned Olivia's dream wedding reception into a celebration for the woman who actually deserves it. When Olivia found out, because apparently the florist mentioned it when she called to scream at them, she lost her mind. Texted me, "You stole our wedding money for your mom. This is literally financial abuse." I replied, "It was my money. You contributed $1,200 total to this wedding. I put in over $8,000. You're not entitled to any of it." Then I blocked her. The best part, my mom cried when I told her about the party. Happy tears. She said, "Honey, you didn't have to do this." And I said, "Yeah, I did. You've been showing up for me my whole life." Time I returned the favor properly. So here's where I'm at. Basement studio is coming together. I'm sleeping better than I have in months, and I'm not spending $600 a month on someone who secretly resented the one person who raised me to be a decent human. Edit. Someone asked about Olivia's finances. She's 29 and has never lived on her own. She went from her parents' house to college dorms to moving in with me. This is her first time actually having to budget. Maybe she'll learn something. Update 2. This update is going to be longer because things escalated in ways I didn't expect, and I want to document it all while it's fresh. So after my last post, Olivia's dad Ron called me. He wanted to have a man-to-man conversation about not throwing away 3 years over one bad night. I respected Ron. He's a solid guy, worked his way up from warehouse supervisor to regional manager, so I agreed to meet him for coffee. Ron opened with, "Look, Nate, I know Olivia crossed a line. She's embarrassed, but you're walking away from everything because of one comment." I corrected him. "Not one comment. A detailed plan to cut my mother out of my life once Olivia had access to my finances." She said it confidently, publicly, like it was already decided. Ron shifted in his seat. "She was drunk. People say dumb things. Ron, if I got drunk and told your whole family that once we're married, Olivia's only allowed to see you guys on Christmas and I'm taking control of her phone and credit cards, would you think that's fine?" He went quiet. I continued. "Your daughter makes 30 grand a year teaching Pilates. I make 120K. I pay her rent, her car payment half the time, her business expenses, her share of dinners out. And her plan was to marry me, get her name on my accounts, then financially and socially isolate me from my mom. That's not a drunk slip. That's showing me exactly who she is. Ron tried one more angle, but you're punishing her whole family. Her cousins, her mother, everyone knows the wedding's off. She's humiliated. She humiliated me first. At your anniversary dinner, in front of everyone, calling me a little boy, mocking my relationship with my mom, announcing her plan to control me. But I'm supposed to be the bigger person. He didn't have an answer for that. We finished our coffee in silence and I left. 2 days later, I was at my mom's working on the basement. I'd got the walls painted this nice gray-blue, set up my monitors and desk, hung some art. It was actually looking really good, like a legit studio apartment. Doorbell rang. It was 2 p.m. My mom answered and I heard multiple voices. I came upstairs and there was Olivia, both her parents and her older sister Jessica, who I've maybe met 3 times, an intervention. They literally staged an intervention. Olivia's eyes were red, makeup smudged. She immediately started with, "Nate, please, I'm so sorry." I was drunk and stressed about the wedding and I said horrible things. I didn't mean any of it. Her mom jumped in. "We've all said things we regret, but you two love each other. You're throwing away your future." Jessica, who barely knows me, said, "Olivia's been a mess. She can't eat, can't sleep. She knows she messed up." I looked at Olivia. "If I took you back right now and we still got married in October, would anything change? Would your plan to limit my mom's involvement in our lives be different?" Olivia hesitated, just for a second, but I saw it. I never had a plan. I was just venting frustration." "That's not what you said. You said once my name's on his bank accounts and mommy gets downgraded to holiday visits." "Those are specifics, Olivia. That's a plan." She started crying harder. "I just wanted us to have our own life. Every Sunday you're over here, every decision you call her." I felt like I was competing, and there it was, the truth under the tears. My mom, who'd been standing quietly in the kitchen doorway, finally spoke. "Olivia, you were never competing with me. You were competing with yourself. Nate is capable of loving more than one person, but you needed him to love me less so you could feel like you were enough. That's not on him. That's on you." Trisha tried to defend her daughter. "Linda, you don't understand what it's like planning a wedding. I was married for 28 years before my husband died," my mom said calmly. "I planned a wedding with a mother-in-law I didn't always get along with, but I never asked my husband to choose between us because marriage is about adding people to your life, not subtracting them." Ron actually looked impressed. Jessica looked uncomfortable. Olivia just cried. I walked to the door and opened it. "I need you all to leave. This isn't going to change. Olivia told me who she is and I believe her." Olivia tried one last time. "So you're really going to choose your mom over me?" I almost laughed. "No, I'm going to live my life with clear boundaries and respect for the people who have earned it. And someday I'll marry someone who understands that how a man treats his mother is exactly how he'll treat his wife, with loyalty, consistency, and care." They left. Olivia ugly crying in the backseat, her parents looking defeated, Jessica texting furiously on her phone, probably updating the family group chat. My mom closed the door, turned to me and said, "I'm proud of you." And that's when I knew, absolutely knew, I'd made the right choice. That night, I found out through a mutual friend that Olivia had to move back in with her parents. She's living in her childhood bedroom, sharing a bathroom with Jessica, and Ron's apparently charging her $300 month rent to teach responsibility. The friend also told me Olivia's Instagram following dropped by about 2,000 people because she kept posting cryptic stories about narcissistic men who use financial control, and people figured out it was about me. Turns out when you're preaching wellness and abundance but can't function financially without a man, people notice the hypocrisy. Meanwhile, I've been spending my evenings after work just hanging with my mom. We finished the basement. We sorted through my dad's stuff and finally donated most of it, kept some important things but let go of the weight. We cooked together, watched old movies, talked about everything. I don't feel like a mama's boy. I feel like a man who knows his worth and won't let anyone, girlfriend, wife, whoever, make him ashamed of being a good son. Final update. All right, Reddit, I promised a final update and this one's a doozy. Life got complicated again before it got better, but I think you'll appreciate how this all played out. First, some context on what's been happening with Olivia. According to mutual friends, she's been struggling. Working full-time at the Pilates studio now, not teaching, but covering front desk shifts because the owner didn't want her teaching schedule to be unreliable after all the public drama. She's living back home with her parents, paying $300 a month rent for the first time in her adult life. Her Instagram presence has tanked. She shifted from manifest abundance content to vague, healing from toxic relationships posts, and people saw right through it. Her friend group thinned out fast. Turns out those Saturday brunches and wellness retreats were funded by me being the invisible wallet. Now that she's on a front desk salary, the invitations stopped. I'd heard all this secondhand and honestly felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, just relief that I wasn't part of that anymore. As for me, I've been thriving. Finished the basement studio. Saved an extra $2,500 last month alone without subsidizing someone else's lifestyle. Started looking at multi-gen properties where my mom and I could both have our own space but be close. She cried when I mentioned it. Then 3 weeks ago, something unexpected happened. I took my mom to her cardiology appointment. She has a minor heart thing, nothing serious, but she sees a specialist twice a year. We're in the waiting room and this physician assistant comes out to call her back. Her name's Anne, about 30, really warm and professional. I sat in on the appointment. Anne was incredibly thorough, asked about my mom's support system, and my mom mentioned I visit every week. Anne smiled at me like that was the most natural thing in the world. After the appointment, while my mom was scheduling her next visit, I asked Anne, "Do you make all your patients feel this cared for?" She laughed. "I try. Healthcare's too impersonal these days." Then my mom, because she has zero shame, said, "My son's single now. Just left a girl who called him a mama's boy." I wanted to disappear, but Anne just raised an eyebrow and said, "Good. I wouldn't date a man who treated his mother badly anyway. That's the biggest green flag there is." We exchanged numbers, had coffee, then dinner. She came over to see the studio, and the three of us ended up playing cards until midnight. Anne has her own career, her own place, visits her parents every Sunday too. When I told her the Olivia story, she said, "She wanted you to prove you loved her by loving your mom less. That's genuinely insane." It's been 3 weeks with Anne and it feels healthy, balanced, like two adults with full lives choosing to add each other in, not demanding everyone else gets subtracted. Now here's where it gets interesting. Last Saturday, I was at Home Depot buying supplies for my mom's guest room renovation. I'm in the paint aisle comparing samples when I hear, "Nate." I turn around and it's Olivia. She looks different, hair pulled back, no makeup, wearing yoga pants and an old hoodie. She's with her mom, both of them holding cleaning supplies. There's this awkward moment where we all just stare at each other. Trisha looks embarrassed. Olivia looks like she's been crying recently, eyes puffy, face drawn. "Hey," I say, keeping it neutral. "Can we talk?" Olivia asks. "Just for a minute." Trisha takes the hint and wanders toward the cleaning aisle. I'm standing there holding paint samples for my mom's house, and the irony isn't lost on me. "How have you been?" she starts, and her voice cracks a little. "Good, really good, actually. I heard you're dating someone, that physician assistant from your mom's doctor's office. Small town syndrome, even in Austin." "Yeah, Anne. She's great." Olivia's face does this complicated thing, hurt, anger, resignation all at once. "That was fast. It's been 6 weeks, Olivia. 6 weeks since you abandoned me. And there it is. I should have walked away right then, but I needed to say this stuff out loud one final time. I didn't abandon you. I left a relationship where my fiancée publicly announced her plan to isolate me from my mother and control my finances. There's a difference. I was drunk. You know I didn't mean it like that." "Yes, you did." I kept my voice calm. "You meant every word. You've been dropping hints for a year about me being too involved with my mom. That dinner was just the first time you said the quiet part out loud." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "I just wanted us to have our own life. Every relationship needs boundaries with parents, boundaries, yes. Elimination, no, you didn't want boundaries. You wanted my mom out of the picture and you wanted control of my bank accounts to make sure it happened. You said it explicitly, Olivia, in front of your entire family. Her eyes filled with tears. And you humiliated me. You got up and left me there. Do you know what the last 6 weeks have been like? I lost our apartment. I'm living in my childhood bedroom with my sister. I'm working a minimum wage job. All my friends disappeared. Your friends disappeared because I was funding your lifestyle. They weren't your friends. They were people who liked being around someone with money to spend. She flinched like I'd slapped her. That's not true. Olivia, you made $30,000 a year and spent like you made 6 figures. Where do you think that money came from? Silence. She knew. She'd always known. And now, I continued, you're mad at me because you're experiencing consequences. So what, you're just going to replace me? Move some new girl into my life? It was never your life. It was mine. I shared it with you, and you tried to use that access to isolate me from my family. Now I'm sharing my life with someone who thinks loving my mother makes me a better man, not a worse one. Tricia appeared then, sensing the tension. Olivia, honey, we should go. But Olivia wasn't done. You know what I think? I think you're a coward. You hid behind your mommy because you were too scared to build a real life with me. You'll always be alone because no woman wants to compete with her mother-in-law. I smiled. I actually smiled because it was so perfectly clear in that moment how wrong she was. Olivia, the right woman won't feel like she's competing because she'll understand that love doesn't have a quota. Anne has dinner with her parents every Sunday too. She has her own career, her own money, her own life. Anne spent last weekend helping paint my mom's guest room. For fun. Because she's a good person who likes helping people. She doesn't need me to abandon my family to feel secure because she's already secure in herself. Tricia put her hand on Olivia's shoulder. Come on, sweetheart, let's get what we came for. But Olivia pulled away. I'll regret this. When your mom gets older and sicker and you're stuck taking care of her, Anne will leave too. They all do. And that's when I understood just how deeply Olivia didn't get it. If Anne left me for taking care of my aging mother, I'd thank her for showing me who she was, but she won't, because people with character understand loyalty. Olivia just stared at me, tears streaming down her face. I hope you figure out someday that relationships aren't about making yourself bigger by making other people smaller. I hope you grow up, but that's not my responsibility anymore. I walked away, paid for my paint samples, drove to my mom's house. When I got there, Anne was already in the kitchen with my mom, both of them laughing about something while making dinner. I told them what happened. My mom hugged me. Anne said, "She sounds miserable. I almost feel bad for her." And I realized I don't feel bad. I don't feel guilty. I don't feel anything except grateful I got out. So here's where I actually am, 6 weeks after that nightmare anniversary dinner. I'm living in a basement studio I genuinely love. I'm saving $2,000 to $3,000 a month. My mom's mortgage is almost paid off. I'm dating someone who thinks my relationship with my mom is a feature, not a bug. And this weekend, we're throwing my mom's 65th birthday party with 40 people who actually matter coming to celebrate a woman who actually deserves it. The party's tomorrow. Anne's coming as my date. My mom's been cooking for 3 days even though we have a caterer because she wants to make sure there's enough food. I bought a new suit. Anne bought my mom flowers. When people ask me what happened to my wedding, I tell them the truth. I realized I was about to marry someone who wanted me to be less so she could feel like more, so I didn't. I'm 31. I own property. I have a good career. I take care of the people I love. I set boundaries. I walk away from people who disrespect me, and I'm building a life with someone who values all of those things. If that makes me a little boy, then little boys are doing pretty damn well. Thanks for everything, Reddit. You guys saw what I couldn't see, and because I listened, I'm happier than I've been in years. I'm logging off this account after this. See you around, and go call your mom.